Our second quick tip is all about auto-scaling and setting default display values. If you acquire images with scientific cameras, you usually get data with 14 or 16-bit, and VisiView stores this data in 16-bit range. But the intensity distribution, as you can see from a histogram, usually is not equal over this full dynamic range, but the signal is a little bit closer to the lower end of the range, especially for fluorescent images. And from the histogram of this image, you can see that lots of pixels are simply background. Then we have a signal which is close to the background and very weak, and some pixels in the image are a little bit brighter. And if the camera is not cooled, you may have also some hot pixels. And if you do not auto-scale this image, then the brightness distribution is over the whole full dynamic range of 16-bit, and your signal is not visible. You will end up with a black image like here. So therefore, auto-scaling is very important. And if you switch on auto-scaling, VisiView directly calculates the min and max value and changes the intensity distribution between these two values. But you see the signal is still quite faint, and that's due to the fact that there's a few pixels which are quite bright in the 30,000, but main proportion of pixels is close to 100 gray values, and therefore we have to neglect somehow the very bright pixels, which are only a few, and therefore I set this value to some high percentage. And now you can see that we get a nicer contrast of our sample. You need to store this setting if you want to reuse it for the next file open step, and therefore I click here on use as file open default. And if I now show a live image or would start a sequence, you will see that the setting is not used for the live image or for a sequence which is acquired. I still have to set also here another default setting, so that we have two different default settings, one for file open and one for acquisitions. So I set auto scaling on, high value is already set, and then this button changes to use as acquire default. And if I click this, anytime I start a new sequence or acquire, it will recall this auto scale settings for the next image. So I hope this was helpful, and see you next time.